Thank you, sir.
Don't take too much time, eh?
No.
Okay.
At the outset, I would thank my revered leader, Puratsita Vyamma, for giving this opportunity to stand before this August gathering for the discussion on commitment to the India's constitution as part of 125th birth anniversary celebration of Dr. B.R. Ambedkar. It is very fitting that 26th November every year is proposed to be celebrated as Constitution Day, marking the anniversary of the day on which in 1949 the Constituent Assembly adopted the Constitution of India. This occasion also gives us the opportunity to remember and revere the memory of Bharat Ratna Dr. Baba Ambedkar, who as chairman of the drafting committee played greatest role in giving to the nation our founding charter. The Constitution of India is widely recognized as a very progressive document which established in what was at that time a poor, largely illiterate country a modern democracy. It also accommodated a wide range of diversity in terms of religion, region, language, socio-economic status, aspiration, and political opinion. Inclusiveness was a major attribute of Indian Constitution. This robust founding charter for India has stood the test of time. It has fostered institutions where many newly independent countries and nations plundered into authoritarianism and anarchy. The Constitution was bedrock that enabled India to integrate and bound the nation together. The Constitution of India's greatest success lies in the fact that it has provided the latitude for diversity. It has provided the space for aspiration, and it has been flexible enough to be amended whenever the need was felt. The judiciary has also played its part in interpreting various provisions of the Constitution in a constructive, creative, and progressive manner. It has indeed been a living document, and we as citizens of this country have every right to be justifiably proud of the manner in which we have worked the Constitution. For Tamil Nadu, located as it is at the southern tip of the Indian Peninsula, with a varied and distinct cultural linguistic tradition, it is this inclusivity and scope for giving expression to local aspirations which has led to all sets of responsible political opinion in the state to have the highest respect for and faith in the Constitution of India. The institutions created under it, including the legislature, the judiciary, the Finance Commission, Election Commission of India, CAG, and the Public Service Commissions, to name a few. As we observe the 125th birth anniversary of Bharat Ratna B.R. Ambedkar, we cannot but highlight the emphasis on social justice which he imbued the Constitution to India with. Clause 4 of Article 15 provides for the state to make special provisions for the advancement of the socially and educationally backward classes of citizens or for scheduled castes and scheduled tribes, and Clause 5 of the Article 15 specifically provides for special provisions for such disadvantaged groups in admissions to educational institutions. Similarly, Clause 4 of the Article 16 permits the state to make special provisions for reservation in public employment for any backward class of citizens which is not adequately represented. The state of Tamil Nadu has been a forerunner in the area of social justice and affirmative action, and the policy of reservation has been in vogue since 1927. The quantum of reservation in educational institutions and in the public employment for the scheduled castes, scheduled tribes, and backward classes was increased from 49% to 68% in 1980. In 1990, the High Court of Madras ordered for providing for separate quota for 1% of our scheduled tribes, increasing the total reservation to 69%. In the Indira Sagavani versus Union of India, known as Mandal case, the Honorable Supreme Court ordered the quantum of reservation should not ordinarily exceed 50%. If at all the quantum of reservation should exceed 50%, the state has to make out a special case showing the extenuating circumstances. Further, the creamy layer from amongst the backward classes should be identified and excluded, and a permanent mechanism in the form of commission should be established by the state to review the list of backward classes. Tamil Nadu constituted a backward class commission. For a state where 87% of the population belong to socially and educationally backward classes, for whom reservation of 69% had been extended for a number of years, the Honorable Supreme Court's orders staying reservation exceeding 50% created huge social crisis in the state. As a progressive measure to secure social justice and to protect the quantum of reservation already prevailing in the state, my revered leader, Puratchi Thalaivi Amma, who was then the Honorable Chief Minister of Tamil Nadu, brought before the Tamil Nadu Legislative Assembly the Tamil Nadu backward classes, scheduled castes and scheduled tribes, reservation of these seats in educational institutions and appointments or posts in the services under the State Bill 1993 to preserve and maintain 69% reservation. The assent of the President of India was obtained on 19/7/1994. The Act was placed in the 9th schedule of the Constitution by the Constitution 76 Amendment Act 1994 on 31st/1994. The government of Tamil Nadu has continued to stoutly defend its stance on reservation before the Supreme Court of India against several legal challenges and has effectively secured social justice for the people of the state to this day. All this has been possible due to the exceptional and brilliant efforts undertaken by Honorable Chief Minister of Tamil Nadu, Puratchi Thalaivi Amma. To us, in Tamil Nadu, the features of Indian Constitution, we cherish the most are those which imbue it with the spirit of federalism. Autonomy for the states and federal structure at this juncture has been the firm credo of successive governments in Tamil Nadu. The present government in Tamil Nadu, under the leadership of Honorable Chief Minister Puratchi Thalaivi Amma, has been strong defender of the federal spirit in every sphere of state action and governance. That is, legislative, judicial, administrative, and above all in fiscal matters. The position that Tamil Nadu, under the leadership of Honorable Chief Minister Puratchi Thalaivi Amma, has taken on a number of proposed central legislations, namely the National Security Act, the new Land Acquisition Act, the National Judicial Appointments Bill, and the Road Safety Bill, to name a few such legislations, is based primarily on the principle that federal features of the Constitution of India require to be protected and preserved against recurrent attempts to encroach on them. Even in the administrative sphere, my revered leader and the Honorable Chief Minister of Tamil Nadu has emphasized that the maintenance of internal security in the country is an exercise that requires functional cooperation and understanding between the central government and the state governments, and presupposes a relationship based on equality. The states are equal partners with the center in protecting the nation from internal strife. My revered leader strongly opposed the moves by the erstwhile UPA government's attempts at increasingly taking unilateral steps and creating top-down structures and parallel authorities that encroached upon constitutional domain of the state government. This ill-informed and counterproductive approach of the UPA government was best illustrated by the ham-handed manner in which the National Counter-Terrorism Center was sought to be established. My revered leader fiercely opposed this assault on state autonomy and the federal structure of governance in this country, and her opposition was instrumental in ensuring that such a mechanism was not created. My revered leader correctly observed that in a federal democracy like ours, democratically elected state governments are as interested in the territorial integrity and unity of the country as the union government. In a context where terrorism is threatening to become a global threat which affects India as well, in spite of the federalism inherent in the Constitution, the government of India should seek the active cooperation of all the state governments as its equal partners in our fight against the common enemy. The government of Tamil Nadu, under the leadership of Puratchi Thalaivi Amma, has held a consistent and principle-based stance on the defense of the state autonomy, even in the context of the right to fair compensation and transparency in land acquisition, rehabilitation, resettlement bill, right from the time that the previous UPA government introduced the bill based on the twin pillars of the need to preserve state autonomy within our federal structure and to protect the interests of the agriculture and of our farmers. We had pointed out that the government of India, in replacing the colonial era Land Acquisition Act 1894 with the Land Acquisition and Rehabilitation Resettlement Bill 2011, is exceeding its legislative competence under the Constitution of India and extending into legislative competence of state governments. Land is a state subject under entry 8 of list 2 of the 7th schedule. States are much closer to the people, hence the constitution makers logically provided for the state governments to deal with matters connected with land. Even administratively, all the records and the related matters are dealt with the state government authorities. Hence, it would be appropriate for the field to have been left to the state to legislate. Fiscal federalism is another key element of India's constitutional framework. The makers of our constitution recognize that for reasons of administrative efficiency and convenience, more of taxation powers have to be vested with the central government, while the responsibilities for actual delivery of many resource-intensive public services like maintenance of public order, public health, agriculture, education, to name just a few, were logically vested with the state, since that was the appropriate delivery level. This arrangement was no doubt occasioned by many considerations which were valid when the country had just become independent. The overall level of the economic development of the country, the wide variation in the sophistication of administrative institutions found in the different states and regions of the country, and above all, the political situation at that time. The scars of dramatic partition of the country were still fresh. The memory of the Herculean efforts that had to be undertaken
the passage and talk like this.
Had to be undertaken to integrate the erstwhile princely states into Indian
Violation
Union and consolidate the nation were two reason and democracy in the country two nation. Over the last 65 years since we adopted our constitution, the scenario has changed considerably and for the better. India is now a confident nation and a mature democracy. Undoubtedly, economic challenges remain, but those are of a different order, not those of overcoming food security and starvation, or of overcoming the handicaps created by a few centuries of colonial rule, including the highly skewed pattern of industrialization and the absence of modern industrial base. Over the last 2.5 decades in particular, we have also seen steady shift in real political economic power away from the center. The political parties in states and political leaders at the state level are becoming much more important players. These should not be seen as centrifugal or vociferous forces that have to be curbed, but as a manifestation of India's maturing as a nation and as a democracy. After all, it would be a strong state that will make a strong union. The resources needs of the states has increased significantly. More importantly, state governments which are engaged in the direct provision of many of these services have also demonstrated their great efficiency and effectiveness in the delivery of such services. But in a context where the nation has grown more politically and economically confident, a federal polity has become more entrenched. The states have demonstrated their administrative capacity, and the state level interventions have become much more important for economic development. Center-state physical relations have clearly not kept pace. States do not receive, it is very important, sir, sir, states do not receive the predictable, non-discretionary and non-discriminatory flow of resources from the center that the Constitution envisages. States have been placed at the whim and mercy of the different ministries in Delhi to receive assistance for many centrally sponsored schemes. While Tamil Nadu may be more efficient in ensnaring more funds for its needs in such a mechanism, we sincerely believe that such a discretionary transfers are not just a suboptimal solution, but deeply humiliating for the states, as the elected state governments are not regarded as equal partners in the development process, but as mere local applicants. Such a design is completely flawed and violative of the spirit of the constitutional scheme, where states, being closer to the people, have been accorded a key role in development-related activities. That is why Tamil Nadu, under the leadership of my leader, is a very strong votary of the idea that the greatest proportion, if not the entire, fund flow from the centers to the states should be on the basis of the recommendations of the constitutionally mandated Finance Commission rather than through other mechanisms. It is on this basis that the Honorable Chief Minister of Tamil Nadu proposed to the 14th Finance Commission to exclude discretionary expenditure of the centre, including as gross budgetary support to the plan, from the committed liabilities of the central government when the resources available to the centre for devolution to the states are assessed. Out of the aggregate resources available to the centre, 50% should be made shareable with the states, which would appropriately balance expenditure needs of the states and centre and help the considerably diminish the scope for discretionary and discriminatory transfers.
How many more pages? How many more pages?
Only seven pages.
Okay. Okay.
We are having 33 pages.
Okay.
We will. If I am able to complete it,
Yes.
another member may be accommodated tomorrow.
See, no rule. Otherwise, otherwise I would ask you to place it on the table of the house. But no rules. Proceed. You proceed.
Yes. I think these are all the important points. The 14th Finance Commission recommended a substantial enhancement in the share of the states in the divisible pool of central taxes from 32% to 42%. Heeding the suggestion of our revered leader, Rajya Amma, while we welcome this increase in non-discretionary and assured transfer of resources from the center to the states, it is important to note that the Commission's recommendations do not represent an aggregate increase in the gross transfer of resources from the center to the states. In fact, the Commission expects the gross transfer to be 49% of the gross tax receipts of the center, which is less than the 53.4% level reached in 2011-12. Our revered leader, Honorable Chief Minister of Tamil Nadu, Rajya Amma, has suggested a simple, robust, well-balanced and equitable formula for distribution of resources amongst the states with 1/3 weight for each of the following criteria: population based on 1971 census, fiscal discipline, including tax effort and fiscal capacity distance. But distressingly, despite a very strong case made out for fair and equitable treatment by our revered leader Rajya Amma, Tamil Nadu has been singled out for the sharpest reduction in its share in the divisible pool of taxes, as against 4.969% share in the divisible pool of central taxes recommended by 13th Finance Commission. Tamil Nadu's share has come down to 4.023% in the 14th Finance Commission recommendations. The unbalanced formula adopted by the 14th Finance Commission has virtually singled out Tamil Nadu for the most adverse treatment. The reduction in the inter-C share of Tamil Nadu of 19.14% represents the biggest loss in the share amongst all states. The very large drop in Tamil Nadu's share in the divisible pool is barely compensated by the increase in the overall devolution pool by 10%. The Tamil Nadu's overall share in the central taxes has increased by just 0.1% from 1.59% to 1.69%. Tamil Nadu has been doubly penalized for its management, as it has not received revenue deficit grants.
1 second. Pardon?
Written speech is allowed in the house to read it out.
No, these are all the figures. I cannot.
He is reading and not because I allowed.
Place it, sir. Place it on record.
Right. No.
Yeah.
Tamil Nadu has been doubly penalized for its prudent physical management, as it has not received revenue deficit grants.
See,
the finance
there is no rule to place in the on the table. Otherwise, I don't allow it.
No. These are all the
Otherwise,
I cannot keep it in my memory, sir. I don't want to commit any for giving incorrect.
But now, Mr. Navaneethakrishnan, you are a senior leader.
Yes, sir.
You should know that reading a speech like this is not to be permitted in the house.
My friend had wanted me to complete it, sir. This is the whole problem.
Then complete immediately. Complete.
The Finance Commission has also recommended no special purpose grants and state special grants of which Tamil Nadu received.
Okay.
Tamil Nadu received rupees 4,669 crores during the 13th Finance Commission period. The loss to the Tamil Nadu due to the reduction in its share in the divisible pool and the discontinuance of the special purpose and the state-specific grants is estimated at rupees 6,000 crores per annum. With the inevitable reduction in the central plan assistance, the Tamil Nadu will stand to lose even more. Hence, Tamil Nadu has caused to be seriously aggrieved with the recommendations of the 4th Finance Commission, which we have not served the cause of the fiscal federalism as much as they could have. The Union Budget 2015-16 has piled on more distress on Tamil Nadu through some of its proposals. The Union Budget, the central government has found numerous ways to claw back the increased devolution recommended by 14th Finance Commission. These include the following: the conversion of rupees 4 per litre out of the specific duty of petrol and diesel into roads as tax that much of revenue out of the divisible pool, and it becomes the exclusive revenue of the central government. Similarly, while the abolition of the wealth tax and its replacement with surcharge of 2% on the super rich which will fetch significant additional revenues to the government of India, this is not shareable with the states. A number of schemes supported with the central funding have been de-linked from the central assistance, and the states share for many centrally sponsored schemes, including National Agricultural Development Program, Pradhan Mantri Krish Sinchay Yojana, Swachh Bharat Abhiyan, National Health Mission, National Livelihood Mission, Smart Cities Program, Housing for All, and Integrated Child Development Services being enhanced. The states being required to take on additional burden of expenditure on central government priorities is an unfair expectation and an outcome. Further, as my revered leader Pratitali Amma has already stated on a number of occasions in the past, in centrally sponsored schemes, the sales share should be limited to a maximum of 25% of the scheme cost in order to ensure that states' own expenditure priorities not distorted. This is a key element of fiscal federalism and state autonomy which ought to be preserved. The proposed goods and services tax is another key issue with a significant bearing on fiscal federalism. Tamil Nadu is primarily concerned about the impact the GST in its present form will have on fiscal autonomy of the states and the huge revenue loss GST is likely to cause to a manufacturing and net exporting state like Tamil Nadu. In fact, the Honorable Chief Minister of Tamil Nadu has suggested an alternative radical approach of delegating the levy and collection of substitutes for VAT, central excise duty and service tax within a state completely to a state machinery, with the central machinery focusing on interstate taxation. Such an approach would have addressed the issues of fiscal autonomy and adequate compensation and could help implement the tax reform measures. Even now, Tamil Nadu continues to have some concerns with this GST structure. The GST Council as a constitutional body impinges on the legislative sovereignty of both the Parliament and the state legislatures and completely jeopardizes the autonomy of the states in fiscal matters. We strongly object to the provision of the GST Council. The existing mechanism of the Empowered Committee of State Ministers, which dealt with what issues, is adequate. Ideally, no statutory GST Council is required. Furthermore, the decision-making role and voting weightage in the proposed council are completely unacceptable. They give the government of India an effective veto in the GST Council, and no distinction is ought to be made amongst the states in weightage. Hence, if at all a council is formed, the weightage of the vote of the central government should be reduced to 1/4 of the total votes cost, and that of the states should be increased to 3/4 of the total votes cost. Further, the weightage of each state's vote should be in proportion to the representation of each state in the Council of States. This is important as the changeover to GST has different implications for the different states based on their size and reliance on own tax revenues. There is a need to enable the states to levy higher taxes on tobacco and tobacco products on par with center, as the states like Tamil Nadu already levy a higher rate of tax on tobacco and tobacco products on account of the public health concerns. In lieu of the proposed additional levy of 1% tax on interstate supply of goods, it is suggested that the origin states may be allowed to retain 4% of the central GST part of the interstate GST that would be leviable on interstate supply of goods and services, as this would ensure speedy recompense for a portion of the revenue loss and will reduce the amount of the compensation payable. Further, as this comes out of the CGST component, it does not affect the destination state's revenue or cause any cascading. We would urge that our concerns are adequately addressed to ensure that constitutional scheme of federalism is preserved. The Constitution of India offers protection to the use of regional languages in the states and grants them official status in the 8th schedule. This is one of the key constitutional protections for Tamil Nadu. Our revered leader, the Honorable Chief Minister of Tamil Nadu, Pratitali Amma, has strongly reiterated a long-standing request voiced on behalf of the people of the state of Tamil Nadu about the use of Tamil language in the High Court of Madras. Clause 2 of Article 348 of the Constitution, read with Section 7 of the Official Languages Act 1963, clearly envisages the usage of state official language in judgments, decrees and proceedings of the High Court with the prior concurrence of the President. This practice is already being adopted in 4 states. However, our repeated requests to authorize the use of Tamil in the High Court of Madras have not been responded to favorably. A communication received in January 2013 from the Department of Officials, Ministry of Home Affairs, Government of India has indicated that the request of the state was considered by the full court of the Supreme Court of India in the meeting held on 11/10/2012 and that the full court after due deliberations reiterated its earlier resolutions adopted on 7/5/1997 and 15/5/1999 not to approve the proposal. If we are to take the administration of justice genuinely closer to the people, then it is absolutely imperative that the local language is used in the High Court, as already being done in the state government and in the state legislature. We urge the state government of India and the Supreme Court of India to consider their stand in this matter and fulfill the long-standing aspiration and demand of the state to authorize the use of Tamil in the High Court of Madras. The greatest tribute we can pay to Dr. Ambedkar is to reaffirm our commitment to the Constitution, uphold social justice at any cost, act in a manner that enhances greater federalism in Indian polity, and accord equal importance to all languages in the 8th schedule of the Constitution. Sir, thank you, sir. Once again I thank Honorable Chief Minister Amma for giving this opportunity and also thank the chair for giving this opportunity.
Okay, thank you.